Hey y'all. Today I'm rebuilding the Raspberry Pi Pico N64 Controller adapter since there were some mistakes and questions about the original video, so this time I'm doing it right and making a few minor updates. For anyone new, this adapter lets an original N64 controller work on the Nintendo Switch or PC. This time around, I'm using a brand new Raspberry Pi Pico, an N64 controller port I found online, 1K resistor, and a 3D printed case that I'm repurposing from a different project. It's going to be a bit janky since I modified the case after printing, but whatever. On the software side, I'm still using David's code linked in the description below. I've pre-flashed the Pico with V3, which you can see on the releases page like so. Since some people reported issues with V4, I haven't double checked myself and I don't want to risk it, so if you do use V4 and run into an issue, let me know in the comments. I'll get started by soldering the wires to the connector itself, since that's the more annoying part. I've set up Doc here to lend a hand. I'm going to start by wiring the red wire to the leftmost pin when you're staring into the port with the flat side down. Then blue to the middle pin and black to the rightmost pin. I'm using red for plus 3.3 volt, blue for data, and black for ground. If you follow my posts, you'll probably be aware that I lost some footage thanks to a hard drive failure, and unfortunately that includes the soldering footage. Anyway, I used an N64 controller plugged into the port to help keep the pins straight while I was soldering, and then added some heat shrink tubing just to keep everything held together nicely. I also threw a tiny bit of hot glue to hold everything steady since I was wary of things coming loose. Then did a quick off-camera check for continuity between the pins and the ends of the wires just to make sure that they were connected all the way through. Next, I've got to add the 1K resistor between the 3v3 pin and the GP18 pin on the Pico. GP18 is the one that'll be used for the data connection, and it has to be pulled high to work properly. I'll just pop the resistor in and then curl the legs around to hold it in place before soldering it down. Once done soldering, I uncurled and trimmed down the extra leg lengths off camera. Now quick test fit in the case before I move on to final wiring, and we're good. The resistor legs looked like they might bend a bit too close to the pins, so I threw a piece of Kapton tape just to prevent any shorts. Now for the final wiring, running the wires through the hole in the case, I'll solder the red wire to the 3v3 pin on the Pico, the blue to the GP18 pin, and the black to any easy to reach ground pin. If you still haven't flashed the Pico at this point, now's the last chance before it all gets glued down. Tucking the wires into the case lets me put the connector flush to the edge, and then I'll hot glue it in place since I still don't have a 3D printer or the time to model up a custom enclosure. Maybe one day. I'm adding hot glue to both the inside and outside to ensure the wires don't try to slip through the hole. My solder fume extractor is now doing double duty as a hot glue cooler, just to speed things up. With that all done, the controller should be good to go. Now I'll plug the Pico in over USB and test it on my PC. Here I found a Gamepad tester website, linked below, which shows the controller appears as a Pokken controller, or Pokken, I don't know how it's pronounced, but that's expected. The buttons all seem to work, so let's test with an actual game from my Steam library that I've been playing recently, Mega Man Battle Network.
Take it away, operator.
So far, things are working as expected, except I noticed this one weird quirk when I try to hit the home button by pressing LR and start at the same time. It takes a screenshot and zooms the whole screen in. I'm guessing it's a Steam mapping thing, but if you know the real reason, drop a comment. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of project, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one.